The SpongeBob in a coma theory suggests that Bikini Bottom exists within SpongeBob's mind as a coping mechanism while he's in a coma, perhaps from a driving accident. This theory attempts to explain the nonsensical nature of the show, as well as the characters and their personalities as just a part of SpongeBob's
imagination.
Each character symbolizes different aspects of SpongeBob's personality or experiences. Patrick represents his childhood and the simplicity thereof. Squidward represents his frustration and anxieties. Mr. Krabs represents his materialistic desires. And Sandy represents his adventurous spirit and scientific curiosity. Like if you think this theory is accurate, and leave a comment to tell me what you think. So there's a popular theory going around that Pearl's biological mother was unalived by her actual father, who isn't Mr. Krabs, which Mr. Krabs is actually her foster parent who rescued her. When you look at the SpongeBob episode Jailbreak, you see a very similar well to Pearl in prison. This would presume that he did this horrible deed to her mother, and that's why neither of them could be there for Pearl. Also, when you take into account the obvious that a crab can't give birth to a whale, and everyone else in the show is biologically the same as their parents. But there's a theory that Ty Lee from Avatar: The Last Airbender is really a descendant of air nomads that escaped during Sozin's attack. The first clue to this argument is her striking resemblance to Aang and her gray eyes that is not common amongst firebenders. Another clue is her fight style, which is acrobatic and light on the feet like an airbender. Also, her ability to paralyze people stops her or her opponent from being harmed. What do you guys think? So I have this crazy theory about Aang from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Obviously, he's an air avatar. I believe that Aang's story was intentionally designed for him to travel the world because of him being an air nomad. And I know all avatars have to travel the world to learn the bending disciplines, but there's even more reasons than the typical avatar for Aang to travel the world. He had to avoid Zuko in book 1, avoid Azula in book 2, and the whole world thought he was dead in book 3. I think it's just a clear sign that the creators were clever in the creation of this story. So there's this crazy theory that Princess Yue was meant to be the avatar after Aang if he never froze for 100 years. The first major clue is that Princess Yue was born with no spirit, but the moon spirit saved her. The avatar spirit Rava may have been meant to be there instead of the moon spirit. The second clue, remember Korra's father was meant to be the leader of the Northern Water Tribe like Yue's dad was. So it's just crazy how he ends up having a daughter that turns out to be the avatar. Tell me what you think in the comments. Katara and Aang might be a little more similar than we think. The first clue is that Aang is obviously the last airbender and Katara is the last waterbender from the Southern Water Tribe. Pretty interesting. Secondly, they both seem to have an overwhelming sense of mercy towards their opponents.
I couldn't. I don't know if it's because I'm too weak to do it, or if it's because I'm strong enough not to.
No, I'm not gonna end it like this.
Do you think the creators did this on purpose?